From deep in the pile of classic zines, I found this. I have no idea how I got it, but it's incredible. Let's go take a look. And hello, everyone. It's Tom. It's FANzine Live, and we are looking at classic zines today. Actually, just one, and it is called Graphic Fantasy. I will admit right now, I have no idea where this came from. Most of the zines that I've got in my classic zines files, I have a general idea, like I remember this guy or I remember that person, or, this was sent maybe as something for a review for fandom back in the day, the old news and review zine that I did, or this was a UFO book or whatever. This one, I have no clue. And that makes it all the more fun because when you discover something like this, it just becomes nothing but joy in exploration and discovery. Graphic Fantasy, #1, June, and I note on the back, 1971, June 13th, 1971, this strip was done. And this is by a person named Young, and I don't know anything about these artists. However, as I was trying to figure out what is graphic fantasy, I stumbled on a web page for the publisher, and it's a guy named, as you can see, distributed worldwide by Broadhurst Features Syndicate. Well, let's not make more out of this than it is. It appears to be that Broadhurst Features Syndicate was an individual, and I think on the website I saw Mark saying his website had been published in 2003. So I don't know where he is now, but Mr. Dale Broadhurst, DB, is over in Hawaii. Good living for him. So, So as a time capsule goes, this is an interesting one. Think about 1971. In 1971, you are less than 10 years since the true dawn of the Silver Age of comics. Less than 10 years since the likes of the Marvel explosion with Spider-Man, The Flash, or Spider-Man Fantastic Four, the revival of Captain America. I'm not even sure that might have happened yet. I think it did by 71. The Hulk, all of those. And then, of course, you go to the repositioning of the DC characters away from kind of the corny 1950s stuff to the more science-based revamps with the likes of The Flash, Green Lantern, etc. And in fact, even in 1971, you're also looking at the revisioning of Batman as a camp character, a camp humor character based on the TV show. So yeah, it's an interesting time. And what I'm going to suggest is that in the world of zines, zine creators often, not always, but often, and more often than probably we want to admit, they draw from what they read. And by that, I mean, I'm a child of the 80s. The stuff I read was John Byrne, Fantastic Four, Alpha Flight, X-Men, Wolfman and Perez on the New Teen Titans, Chaykin on American Flag, that type of stuff. And out of that came my 80s heroes. And if you read it, a lot of it looks like 80s grade comics. Done very amateurish, but yeah, 80s grade comics. These days, Manga is the big thing, and so you see a lot of Japanese influence, especially in the cartooning, but also in the narrative style and in the story content. This is a pivot point, 1971. Clearly, the superhero era had taken hold, but there still was some appreciation for what had happened before. I also learned Dale had been doing a zine at least as far back as 1964. So now you're getting back way to the beginning of the Silver Age. So you can kind of sense where his leanings come from. And I tell you that with the 1964 and the fact that he was doing a zine then, let's put him at being a teenager at that point. That means that he probably was born 1950-ish. Guess what comics were sitting around in the 1950s in a given household if you had comics sitting around? That's right, the EC comics. And so that starts us in on this book. Young is a fantastic artist. This is just gorgeous. Inside, not quite as great, but as you can see, colorfully brought to you in beautiful black and white by Skillful Stanley, Vacuum Kirby, Cranky Crowquills, and Art Machine. Gosh, if this doesn't scream early Marvel Comics, I don't know what does. So anyway, you've got this character named Utah Man, who is a hippie mailman. One sip from magic potion from a bottle found in a strange package in the dead letter bin. He becomes Utah Man, and he has his own powers. He fights for truth, justice, and the American way. Isn't it great? But look at this stuff. I mean, if this isn't Kirby, if these aren't Kirby faces, I don't know what is. But you've got some clear Ditko influence with the Spider-Man there. A lot of fun stuff. So that was by Dale Broadhurst and Geary, 1971, Ogden, Utah. It's just a standard, fun superhero story. Then the next one you have is Enter Matrix. I do get a kick out of this. This is an insert page that was stapled into this book. And this is is this a full-size comic? It very well could be. Here, we'll take a look. Heroes Past, I think, was a full-size comic. Okay, so it's a little smaller than a full-size, but not by much. But anyway, so this was stapled in, and you can tell that he must have dropped off a whole bunch of these pages to his printer and said, insert these things, because it's all done on a ditto machine. But again, going back, I mean, we've got a full-color interior, gorgeous full-color cover, saddle stitch. It's a nice scene. So that's Matrix. Then you get to My Sister's Keeper, and this is where the EC influence really hits home. And it's a neat little story about this man who dreams about this person who is in his dreams always saying, please help me. And, he meets a girl, his parents die, he meets a girl, he marries the girl. And then he discovers in the end that the girl is the twin sister of his wife, who they've been holding on to for years, and now he is the keeper in the basement. Apologies to H.P. Lovecraft. This looks like an EC horror story. I mean, the way it's written, no dialogue at all. It's all kind of first-person narrative. Pretty cool. So yeah, and that was by a person named Parr Holman in January 71, which incidentally was the month that I was born, and I have too much gray hair for all this. So now we're back to the Matrix, and remember that page that we had earlier with the Matrix? And you remember this dittoed piece? You can see they just stapled it in and folded it over, and now we've got the rest of the Matrix story. 2 pages. Basically, we have enough to know about he has a mind over matter, the M force. He basically is a shadow that can wander through buildings and stuff, and now he has to go back to being a regular human. Kind of cool. And then lastly, another EC style piece, though not entirely. This reminds me a lot of the EC science fiction, but as we'll see, it goes a little deeper. And this, again, I believe is by Broadhurst, as well. Some really nice looking stuff. I mean, I love his, his trees look good. His backgrounds are nice. I mean, clearly he's, he does some neat stuff with close-ups of different types. Narrative is strong. He's not 100% there. I mean, this is not a great looking image, but he's doing a good job. And this is where it gets wild. He decides to get to the end of this strip, and it says this story was written and illustrated in 1964. Oh, since that time, the artist hasn't spent much time at the old drawing board. Well, he is back now, and the story will continue as a Sunday format page entitled Trent. So, this is 1964 Dale Broadhurst. Looks pretty good. And he can say he hasn't been at the drawing board much since then. But in 1971, he did this, and this looks so much like the classic Sunday cartoons. And I'm thinking like I think it's Hal Foster's Prince Valiant and some of those. The cartooning style is just incredible. Wonderful titling. The hatching is off the charts. Shading is great. It's simple. He has wonderful lettering. Layout is crazy good. And here's the second page. Here, let me make sure you can see that. Nice looking cat. I mean, it's not perfect, but holy cow, is it good. So yeah, graphic fantasy, #1. I looked this up, and one of the things I saw when I did my research on it was on, somebody's got it on eBay along with the second issue, which I don't have. But together, apparently, these are like worth a fair bit of money. I had no idea. Graphic fantasy, #1. Dale Broadhurst. Fascinating stuff. That, my friends, is a classic zine. So I thank you so much for watching. It's been FANzine Live Classic Zines, graphic fantasy #1. My guess is you probably won't see a zine like this for a while again. But holy cow, is this something special? So glad to share it with you. Again, thanks for watching. Make sure you like this video. Please subscribe to the channel and keep watching. We're having a lot of fun on this. And I will catch you next time.